Testing 1 2, testing 1 2, testing 1 2. All right. What's going on, everybody? So let us get this party started. So what's going on, guys? Donnie Rouse here, and today I want to give you a gift, and I want to get you out of your own heads. And what I mean by getting you out of your own heads is sometimes we take things personal, meaning we project and think that maybe something's not working because of us, or someone may be mad at us, and even though we know we have nothing to do with it, we may kind of take on some of that, and emotionally it drains us and it prevents us from moving forward in our life. So the point of this podcast here is I want to share some examples from my own life and some experiences that really opened my eyes to getting out of my own head, meaning realizing that one has nothing to do with me, right? If someone's upset, it has nothing to do with me or you. Or if something like your business, if something's not working, again, has nothing to do with you. And by understanding this concept, what it does is it frees you from that attachment to feeling like, oh, this is not working, therefore I'm not working. To saying, all right, well, if this is not working, then I just have to figure out it's a system. This is just feedback. And if I could figure out what the message is, then I can move past this problem, this hurdle, whatever the challenge is. So I was in Austria. And while I was in Austria, actually, the experience started when I was in Milan, Italy. I was in Milan, and while I was in Milan, I was talking with, I was trying to have conversation with some people. But this was a different, it was a different environment than what I normally experience when I go into hostels. Normally, when I go into hostels in Southeast Asia, I'm encountering people from all different walks of life, all different ages. When I walked into the hostel in Milan, Italy, I was greeted with what I thought were like high school students. It seemed like there were like field trips going on. So when I went there, I was in my head very much. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I was questioning everything in life. I'm like, how am I? I'm 44 years old and I am still traveling in hostels. There's kids here, right? And I started to give it a shitty meaning. And so that was kind of like the start. And then I went to Austria next, to Vienna. In Vienna, I encountered very much the same exact thing. I would go to say hello to people, and it just seemed very awkward. So feeling the awkwardness, what do you think I thought in my mind? I thought, like, well, what's going on with me? Is this something that I'm attracting? Am I putting the energy out there that's making people awkward and not have a conversation with me? So I started spiraling in my own head. I ended up going to Bratislava. Then now I'm in Hungary. In Hungary, all of a sudden, it was like the blindfold was taken off. So there's several things that happened prior to getting Hungary. In Bratislava, I met an Austrian guy sitting outside the hostel, and I had just a casual conversation, and his demeanor was just kind of very, very blank, right? Like there was no emotion in the way that he was speaking. So I wasn't really sure, all right, is this guy, like, does he really want to talk to me, or is he just talking to me to be nice? But then at one point in Bratislava, I said he was getting up and some of his friends were coming to meet him for dinner. In introducing me to his friends, they seemed like pretty cool guys. I was like, hey, do you mind if I join you? I didn't know they were going to dinner right then and there. But they're like, oh, he says, hold on, let me ask my friends. Goes up. I was like thinking to myself, I should not have asked. Oh my God, why did I ask? And I'm going on in my head, feeling like I'm not invited. Then he comes back and he says, my friend said it's okay. All right, come on. And we end up going to this very, very traditional Slovakian restaurant. You're walking up the stairs. I mean, it looked like it was a tavern that they kept the same for centuries. Sitting in this upstairs room, there's just this wide open area with all these communal tables. And they sat us like all the way in the back, kind of near the kitchen, which was like away from everything, which is kind of weird that they sat us there anyways. And I started to get to know these guys. So at first they were very, their personalities seemed very cold. But as a result of having dinner with them, all of a sudden in drinks, of course, right? They started to open up, and I started realizing, I mean, these guys are actually pretty cool. This is like my crowd. Come time to pay the check, we're like, he's like, all right, guys, let's go. I was like, well, who do I pay money to? He's like, don't worry about it. One of the friends had treated me for dinner, which I thought was really, really nice because you're a complete stranger. I didn't know any of them. And they invited me. So naturally, we went to a bar afterward, and I treated the entire group for drinks. So there's a reason why I'm telling you that, right? So fast forward, now I'm in Budapest. I'm talking. I meet this Mexican guy right when I get into the reception at the hostel. I see this guy. His energy. He looks like a surfer. My friend Diego. He looks like a surfer. Long hair. I was like, this guy has like some cool energy. Let me just say hello. He comes up to the table. We have a small conversation. Where you're from? Oh, Mexico. I'm like, oh, United States. And we just had like just small talk. But I could tell right away that we have the same energy. You could just feel it. Fast forward, so in Budapest, we actually didn't spend much time hanging out. It was always these like just in passing. I would see him, and like I would probably be going to sleep, or he would just be getting off work because he was working remotely, and and then he would go and have drinks with this Icelandic guy that we met, and the guy's vibe, very nice guy, but it just wasn't my vibe. So I opted always just kind of go to sleep and get up a little bit earlier. That towards the end of the trip, we ended up having a conversation. We were at the hostel bar, and I was with a friend of a friend, and then like he popped in. I was like, oh, let me introduce you to Paul, Diego, Paul, and we started having a conversation while I was talking to him. We started throwing around plans for the upcoming destination. Initially, I was going to go to Malta, and I was telling Diego that I was like, oh man, but Montenegro was where I really wanted to go. The coast is supposed to be beautiful, and I'm going on and on about this. And he's like, you know what? That sounds pretty great. Oh wow, maybe I'll do that. But he's like, but I already booked 3 extra nights here. I don't want to throw away 60 euros. I was like, all right, well, whatever. That's fine. I'll go to Malta. So I'm in my room later that evening, and I'm about to book Malta. I'm literally right about to press the send button, and Diego messaged me saying, hey, I just booked Montenegro. I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean you just booked Montenegro? Literally, he got me. And then seeing that as a sign from the universe, I decided I booked Montenegro. So why were we in the capital of Montenegro? I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not even going to attempt to try it. The walk to like around the town, and it was we were just outside the city center. In order to go to the city center, it was like at least a half an hour walk, if not even more. So we were walking out there, and we started just conversing about like what we thought about Austria and the places we traveled. And he was saying the same. We started talking about Austria. He's like, yeah, I was there, but he's like, I felt like there was something wrong with me. I was trying to ask myself, is this what I'm attracting? And I started cracking up because it was the same exact thoughts that I was saying to myself. When the truth of the matter is that every place has their own social norms. One of the reasons, I won't say that I don't like Northern Italy or Northern Europe. I love all of the world. But one of the things I like most about the Southern is that they're in the sun all the time, of course, like sun and water, I love that. And it's just a warmer culture. And when I say warmer culture, it's not that these other cultures aren't nice, because they indeed are. It's just the getting past that initial stage of like, and getting to know the person. It's just a different vibe, right? So we were laughing about this. And again, the reason I had mentioned about the Austrian guy I met in Bratislava was exactly for this reason, how at first glance, he just seemed very, very cold and not interested. But it was kind of contradictory, because then he decided to ask his friends if I could join, and then we joined, and we ended up having a blast. So it was getting past that surface, but it was just different. And what I'm trying to say is that I was internalizing it as something that I was doing. And when I heard my friend Diego mirror that same thing, I started to laugh, and I started to realize, like, it's literally it was all in my head. I'm making this about me and has nothing to do with me. Fast forward. So now I am in Tirana, Albania, and I meet two girls while I was there, and we were talking. A group of us went out for dinner, and I was talking to one of the girls, and we were talking about the place we had visited, and they had pretty much done the same route, and they were like, "Yeah, I feel like something was off. Like I feel like there was something wrong with me. People were like really mean, but I figured like I was attracting I was attracting this kind of energy, and it's funny because we were all saying the same thing." And if you had saw the group of us who were sitting around this table, we're all very outgoing, social people from different parts of the world that are more open and more social. One from Mexico, one from in both of us were from the United States, or three of us were from the United States. So completely different culture. Again, rewinding all the way back, the point I'm trying to make is that we were all internalizing it, making it about us when it had absolutely nothing to do with us. And to give you an example, when I came back home, um, this idea or this philosophy that it's not about me, really, I took that back with me. And as I would, this is something I'll share with you. This is not something I share with a lot of people, but one of the things that had this trigger, I would always think that people were mad at me, and as a result, I'd try to placate and go the extra mile because I was trying to make up for something I didn't even do. I don't even know. And I would see people's like certain looks on people's faces, and it would trigger me. It would put me into this mode of worry and feeling fearful, or feeling like someone was angry at me. Maybe it's like a people pleasing trait. I don't know what it was, but as a result, when I came back, now all of a sudden there was separation between that thought. And when I noticed myself going into this pattern, because all it is pattern. It's not you. It's just a pattern. When I noticed myself going into that pattern, all of a sudden, a different response kicked in. And then I said to myself, I was saying to myself, and it did it automatically. It wasn't even trying to think about it. I was like, this is not about me. It's not about me, right? If someone looked like they're pissy or they're something was wrong, I'm like, it's not about me. People, we spend most of our times in our own minds, like caged in our own minds and thinking that it's about us, but it's not. To give you one example of how this relate to your professional life, if you're a business owner, a lot of time things you try something new, it doesn't work, and you tend to internalize and be like, oh my God, this didn't work, I suck, right? And this happened to me many times, even with espresso. Right, I look at something and maybe I'll go to pull a shot and like the shot will pull horribly, and then I'll go through an entire bag, and the entire bag I'm like, what is going on? All I want is a freaking espresso, and I would internalize it, and I'm like, oh my God, like who am I? I'm like, what kind of coffee professional am I? And I would literally make it like turn into like the end of the world. And the funny thing is sometimes you know what you should do, but you don't do it. And when espresso is no different, because sometimes when I would pull a shots of espresso, I knew exactly how to troubleshoot and go through the workflow of pulling a proper shot. But then knowing it, but I wouldn't do it. And so I would do that. I would keep getting bad results, and I would then keep beating myself up. It was stupid, right? It was really stupid. One more point in doing some marketing, right? And trying to find people who like espresso and target them with the new Italian espresso and doing espresso trainings, right? I'm in the beginning phase of this, but the point of telling you this is that the chances of me getting it right in the first time are nil, right? Very, very rare do people get this kind of thing right in the first time. It takes communicating with the customer, the person who's going to benefit from the product or service you have to offer, and then understanding their problem in their language and then applying it. So if you are trying something new and it doesn't work, immediately you may stop because you're not getting the result, thinking that it's something that you're doing when really it's just data. You just got to look at the data, make sense of it, and fix what is wrong. This is one of my coaches had left me this, and The quote was, or the phrase was, don't let not knowing stop you from moving forward. Kind of has nothing to do with the whole topic, but in essence, in moving forward with your life, it does. It means everything. Meaning a lot of the time you're going to get stuck. You're going to be like, oh man, I don't know what to do here. But don't let it stop you. Don't let it freeze you in your track. What you do is, even though you're there, you look for answers and you keep chipping away at that problem until you break through. So that is it for today. But to kind of wrap it all together, I want you to just think of a time think of something that's going on in your life. Think of the meaning that you are applying to it. Like, what meaning are you applying? And then ask yourself a different question. What else could this mean? And then ask yourself, how often am I right? I used to, I make these assumptions and I'm like, oh my, I am certain that this person is mad at me. And then I'm like, well, how do you know? You're like, I just know. How do you know? More often than not, whenever I make these judgments on, whenever I make these assumptions, I'm usually wrong. And so I understand that and I question to get myself out of my own mind. And then if you want to see, like, if you didn't believe this, what else would be true? I mean, you can use this to literally break down any belief that you have, because it shows you a different side of who you can be. But in the instance of making it about you, if it's not about you, then what else could it be about? Then you this is the damn truth. When I'm looking, when I would make these assumptions that people were upset with me, and I look at them like, well, what else could it mean? What else could be true? And I'm like, well, people are just friggin' in their heads, right? I'm in my head a lot of the time, right? And I have to catch myself doing that. So what makes me think that this person is any different than me, right? There's so much noise going on in the world. Most people are literally don't even know where they are. Like, because of this thing, the phone, if you're looking on the video, the phone is what gets them spinning in circles. Stop spinning in circles. Start asking yourself different questions. Start realizing that it is not about you. Everyone is on their own journey. Everyone, they're more worried about their own lives than what is going on with yours. Now, it might sound like, oh my God, scary. Wow, nobody cares what's going on. That's great. It means that you can mess up. You can do everything you want, and no one's really paying attention. And if they are, they'll forget tomorrow. So I want to tell you this, so this way you can identify those dreams that you have. You can identify the desires. And you could say, you know what? Who cares what other people may think? Who cares what can go wrong? As long as you keep trying, you will eventually get to your end result, so long as you never give up. So that is what I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, or I'm more than happy to answer, just to kind of give you a reframe on it. But it really comes down to just living your own life. And one of the ways to do that is to live unapologetically, realizing that, people, it's not that, there's a quote I'd once heard. It said, it's not that people are against you, it's just that they're for themselves. Hearing that is just like, oh, wow. Be for yourself. God bless you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please share this with somebody who you feel like can benefit from it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me via my website at donnyraus.com. That is DONNYRAUS.com. And that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it inspires you to ask some new questions, to change the trajectory of whatever area of life you want to apply it to, but just realize that you're on your own path. Follow your own unique path and stay the course. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you only get one life. Live fully, live passionately, and most of all, live now. God bless you guys, and I will